Hello everyone, welcome to our episode of Showcase on Bloodborne. Today's item? Well, it's a chainsaw. The Whirlgig Saw. I'll keep wanting to say whirling, but it's a Whirlgig Saw. A trick weapon crafted by the workshop heretics, the Powdergigs. A weapon of choice for the old hunter, Walter, the beast eater. I was going to say beast hunter, but we're all beast hunters. This weapon pummels beast in its mace form, but the true strength lies in its attached mechanical saw. What powers it? Who knows? Maybe blood does, because there's lots of that to go around. The discs lined with this serrated teeth spin rapidly, thrashing the flesh of beasts into fine shreds. Not only beasts, but generally everything else you put it up against. I don't think beasts are really, exempt from that, or anything else. So yes, it is a sense a chainsaw, which you think you'd have a little bit sooner, or not in the DLC of Bloodborne, but it's here. And like so many other weapons, it's a mystery in how it's even powered, or even how this thing even connects, as you'll see, but no matter. Now, visually, well, as it's in its mace form, the mace seems to be a bit slanted, bent, maybe clubbing someone over the head a little too many times. But yes, the mace is rather large and elongated because of the chainsaw, the whirling saw, if you will. But otherwise, it's the standard mace head. But I'm pretty much no longer having any flanges, but flanges are not truly needed when it comes to blunt force trauma. Now, when you go to the transformation, you go from a threat level of 7, right about, I don't know, a 12? So yes, the whirling saw is immediately a threat just on the visual confirmation of it, of your opponent having it. Now, it has two saw blades going about in the same direction. Though I thought it'd be more interesting if it went in opposite directions. Wouldn't that be more effective of cutting power? Maybe not. Maybe it'll be too much torque and it would whip out your hands, but just a little speculation on my part. Otherwise, it's a chainsaw, except it's not. You get the idea. Going on to the stats for the Whirlgig Saw. Now, physically we get the full damage of 95 and a bonus damage of 66, which I actually find to be a little low considering the bonus, but no matter. Moving on to the special stats. Now we can see the durability is 230, which is plenty, but nothing else exceptional except for that. Now moving on to the attribute bonus. We got a B for strength, E for dexterity, and a D for arcane. And yes, expect a little bit more strength, but I guess we'll get that when we upgrade it. Okay, moving on from that, we got the attribute requirement, which you'll need 18 strength, 12 dexterity, and nothing else. So yes, this is mainly a strength weapon. Which, when it comes to a chainsaw, would you really need a huge amount of strength to, wield it? The tool kind of does all the work for you, if you kind of think of it, but it is a big, blunt weapon in the end, after all. No matter. Now, for the damage types, well, according to this, it does everything. Even thrust. I'm not sure where it gets the thrust damage. It's a mystery, but there's a lot of slash, and way too much. Blunt, of course, being from the mace. Animations for the Whirlgig Saw, but anyway, the mace form. You can see the mace attack is pretty basic. You swing your big club and hope to hit something. Probably on the head. It's preferable. The power attack is an overhead swing onto the ground. Probably why the thing is so damn bent. The power attack is a very vicious, wide sweeping attack. Okay, now moving on to the backstep attack. The backstep light attack, you can see it's a rather jab. I guess that's his thrust move, is it? And the backstep heavy attack is uppercut. The light rolling attack, as you see here, is a quick club to the side. And of course the rolling power attack is no different from the plain one. Okay, then you have the plunge, which is no different from the normal power attack. It's just, clubbing your enemy over the head again, and that's why it's bent. And you got the switch attack, which you just get your opponent by surprise with the whirl saw and swiping at him. Normal attack is kind of leaning up side by side with things in full motion. Very deadly looking. And how this thing works is still a mystery to everyone, probably. Anyhow, now for the power attack, you can see here it's just a quick whip of the weapon, pretty much swinging while it's active. Now for the charge power attack, you can see that the weapon continues to spin while on the ground, probably pinning your opponent underneath. Pretty gruesome. Okay, now for the light step attack. You can see here, it's pretty much a quick whip, while the weapon's fully active. the power attack version of the backstep. You can see it's kind of like the charge power attack, but it's similar like that. The light rolling attack is a bit of a jab, and the heavy rolling attack is of course no different from the plain one. Then you got the plunge, which is no different from the charge power attack, just a little bit quicker. And here's the alternate move. You can see here it actually activates a chainsaw. You jab an opponent, and it can continuously go for a bit, with the blades continuously spinning, somehow. Yeah, like I said, chainsaw. Enough said, a lot of DPS. Then we got the switchback attack. So it's rather quick, but oddly enough, you hit your opponent with the darn thing before you put it away. Yeah, good luck with that. Now, going on to upgrade. Now, when you upgrade the weapon, you can see the arcane immediately jumps to a C for upgrade, so that's pretty good. And then on the fourth upgrade, the strength goes to an A. So, that means we get lots of damage. Although, we can't really use the arcane damage without swapping it over. And dexterity doesn't seem to do anything at this point. So it's mainly going to be strength or your arcane. And you see next upgrade will actually surpass my base damage, which is pretty good. Now, if you wanted to add arcane damage, you get plenty out of it. Almost just as much as my strength, so this is arguably just as good of a weapon for an arcane user. Although, I'm not sure, other arcane users probably deviate this towards other weapons, but this weapon is still a solid choice for them, given that B polarity. Alright, moving on to that, let's go on to the performance, see how it does in combat. Now, the base form is pretty simple. It's a mace. Although it has a really nice wide swing area though, so you can hit multiple opponents pretty easily, and the DPS is actually quite fast for a mace, comparing that to the Tiny Trust, which is actually significantly slower, and actually has less range. Where this one actually has a bit of good heft to it, as well as a bit of range. Almost 1.5 times the Tiny Trust. But anyway, when you take out the Whirlgig Saw, you get a lot more swing area. But in terms of the chainsaw, you can see it has incredible DPS, but I wanted to know about stagger capability, because you can see that it doesn't always stagger opponents very quickly. And it's more evident when I fight the Executioner, as I'll try and defeat him solely with the chainsaw. But you'll see that it does stagger him a bit, but then he quickly whips back very quickly, and I barely get any damage off before I get hurt myself. Now this is where I have a bit of an issue with the weapon. It's not exactly effective as I like it to be. When I put blood gems in, you'll see later on it does a lot better, but still, without those blood gems, that Whirlgig Saw is a bit of a issue. Now against little armored buddies, this weapon fucking sucks. Now, I could use the one thrust attack, but doing that repeatedly is not very quick. You can see Mace form, pointless. Now I thought, okay, maybe with DPS to do something. No, DPS is no good here either. Although arguably it does stun lock them to death, but still, you're going through all your stamina doing this. Now I should also mention about one other thing about the Whirlgig Saw, since we can see it's not very effective. When you do switch to the Whirlgig Saw, you do actually have serrated damage. This is good against beasts and such, like werewolves. But that doesn't do fuck all against the armored buddies here, and the performance is so terrible, I am not going to fight the armored maiden because I know it's going to go poorly. As you can see here, the weapon's terrible against armor. Very terrible. So yeah. But yeah, I'll show some werewolves to compensate for all that. Now, but first, the Shadow of Yharnam. Now, Shadow of Yharnam is kind of somewhere in the bridge in the middle for this weapon. Like, it's not terrible, it's not great either. The Shadows of Yharnam have superior reach, superior speed, and they're not exactly weak to any of the weapons, any of the damage you're throwing at it, blunt or serrated. But still, they don't have any armor value either. So it's a bit of a middle ground. I thought, okay, this is a more of a balanced fight, opposed to being one lopsided on one side or the other, depending on which way you're fighting. So Mace form, average. But let's take the Whirlgig Saw and attempt to cut through our opponent. Now, when using Whirlgig Saw against flamethrowers, well, flame users I should say, don't. At least not the chainsaw portion. The swinging around is effective or not, but you don't move quick enough. As you see here, it's easy to get caught in their flame when you swing that thing on. That's a problem, is you only go to a slight, brisk walking pace. So yeah, not a great idea. So if I get rid of this one, let's see it again, without interruptions this time. So you can see that I can get decent enough damage. It does quick enough. It does stun lock him effectively somewhat, but still, it's much more effective just to swing the thing at him and not rely on the chainsaw. Alright, now let's see an actual beast. An actual beast, which should do 20% more damage, it's somewhat noticeable. It's more noticeable when you actually rev up the chainsaw when you fight these creatures. Now, I'd actually argue it's probably more of a boss weapon than it is a casual enemy fight, because that DPS could do a lot of damage to a boss, but I don't think it's really wise to use it alone, because again, you're caught at a walking pace when using this, leaving you quite heavily open until you turn it off. Not to mention you're burning through all your stamina, so it's really a bit of a gamble to use it against most enemies. Okay, let's go on to the pros and cons of the Whirlgig Mace, as I'll call it. Okay, for pros, it is a fairly average versatile weapon. Pretty much no heavy strengths, no heavy weaknesses, so quite well balanced, if you will. And it's actually quite quick for a mace, pretty much the fastest swinging mace in the game. Okay, and I think that's kind of it for pros for this weapon. It's pretty basic. On the cons, well, it does really poor against armor. And that's kind of it, the only con I can think of for this weapon. There's nothing. It's pretty plain. It's like the very calm brother compared to you know, the other side of it, the other side of the coin. Now, going on to the score for the Whirlgig Mace. Damage, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's average damage, but it's alright. Not slow though. Reach, a 5 out of 10, which is fairly comparable. It's decent enough reach for a mace. Animation, I'm gonna give it a 4 to 10, because it's not very, you know, animations are pretty boring and bland. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Bonus, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. That strength bonus is quite high, as you'll see when I put some blood gems into it, and even the arcane one is also good. Miscellaneous though, I'm gonna give it a 4 to 10. As I mentioned, this is just a plain weapon. So it's reliable, yes, but is it practical in most situations? Nah, it's usually something better, but still reliable nonetheless. So in total, I give the Whirlgig Mace 28 out of 50. It's a good weapon. Reliable, plain, good. Now moving on to the Whirlgig Saw pros and cons, a lot of things change. First and foremost, it is the weapon with the highest DPS in the game, thanks to its little chainsaw effect. Alright, and also has that serrated damage, which adds 20% more damage against beasts when you have this effect, when you have the Whirlgig Saw attached, which I'm not even sure how you would attach this. Anyhow, overall, it is a fairly effective weapon against a lot of opponents out there that lack armor. Speaking of armor, on the cons, it is completely shit against armor. It is terrible. Just like its more calm counterpart. Using the chainsaw does leave you vulnerable though, and consumes your stamina rather quickly. So there's also that to consider. But other than that, I think that is the pros and cons for this weapon. Pretty cut and dry. Now, going on to the stats, much different. Damage, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. It's not a huge jump above the mace, but it's a lot quicker. So, it's good enough in that regard. So 8 out of 10. Reach, a 7 out of 10. Weapon simply gets longer, simply put. Animation, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. The animations for this weapon are wicked awesome. They're all cool. Who doesn't love a chainsaw? Who doesn't? Bonus, same as the mace, 8 out of 10. Miscellaneous, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Mainly for the premise of it's difficult to use in a lot of scenarios, the chainsaw portion, you know, the main attraction for the weapon. Using the weapon otherwise, it's fairly comparable. But you just gotta be really careful about that chainsaw one. It doesn't do as much as I want it to do. I thought it would do a lot more staggering, but no, enemies whip back a bit incredibly quick. But no matter. In total, I gave the Whirlgig Saw 39 out of 50. It's an awesome weapon. It's awesome. It's a must-have, clearly. Because chances are, you probably have the build to run this, unless you're strictly a dexterity build. Okay, and here is the Whirlgig Saw with all my gems fitted on. You can see the bonus damage is taking a definite turn for the better. Oh, very quite high there, nearly going to 400. And when you accompany that with DPS, well, I don't need to explain what will happen to the enemies. Why don't I show you instead? doesn't love a chainsaw? I'll answer who. Your opponent doesn't. So yes, the weapon is incredibly deadly in the right hands, and against the right foes it's even more so. So yeah, probably very effective against bosses, potentially, but too bad I can't get footage for that so damn easily, without jumping to another damn playthrough or going through a chalice dungeon and hoping for the right boss. But no matter. Weapon's still effective, still awesome, still powerful. And that concludes today's showcase. I'd like to thank you all for watching, hope to see you guys next time. Take care out there.